Yo Wagwan, hope you're having a great day. Now in this video I'm going to be revealing everything you need in a beat. Now this will work for trap beats, R&B trap beats, pop beats, bashment beats, whatever type of beat you're trying to make. These elements are what you need in the beat basically. So be sure to watch through to the end of the video so you know exactly what you need, like every single part you need to make a great full sounding beat that is perfect for an artist to start recording vocals over. Okay, now if you don't know who I am, I'm Cartere from jcartere.com, teaching you how to be better at music, online marketing and online business. This is the #1 spot for musicians and creatives that don't want to be starving artists. So if that sounds like you, click on that subscribe button, check out the rest of the content on the channel. You will love it here. Now let's get straight into this. Now I have brought up my R&B trap Fruity Loops template, or FL Studio template. They're not called Fruity Loops anymore, and the link to that is in the description down below. You can go to jcartere.com/R&B trap FL. Is that, let me quickly check. I swear it's R&B trap FL. R&B trap FL, yes. That's how you get this template up and running. But basically this template has all the elements of a beat, like everything that you need in a beat is all linked to this template. So I've got tracks for everything that you need in a beat in this template, so that everything's ready for me every time I'm making a beat, and I can just add the stuff that I need and link it to the template. Everything's half mixed, then I just level stuff, and then Bob's your uncle, we can keep going. So let me quickly walk through this template. Now obviously you can see what's there, you can take a picture and be like, okay, video's done, but I want to give you some more in-depth information about why these elements are important and how you can go about using this information to make your beat. So of course some of these elements aren't needed for every single beat, but this is basically just, you know, a variety of different elements that you can use in every single beat. Some of them are relevant in every single beat, and I'll tell you exactly which ones those are, so stay tuned. So let's start off with the melodies. Now let me give you some tips straight away. With melodies, you want about 3 melodies minimum and 4 melodies maximum. Now you can do more melodies than that, but a general rule of thumb is you want 4 melodies, and that gives you enough melodies to have a lot of differentiation and switch ups throughout the beat, and to make sure that things don't get boring. So that's why you want like 4 melodies, and you generally don't want all 4 melodies hitting at the same time. You probably want 3 melodies hitting at the same time. It depends on the melodies that you got, because if you got a bunch of melodies hitting at the same time, it can then start to sound very cluttered, and there can then start to be not enough space for the artist to actually record vocals over. So what melodies do you need in every beat? Now you need a main melody. Now this is called my main melody pad because I tend to use pads if I'm making an R&B type beat, or I might use a bell, or I might use keys, or I might use a guitar. This is just the main melodic element of your beat. So this is where you'll have the main chords, maybe a little bit of melody in the chords, some rolling notes into the next chords and whatnot. And that's what's here, the main melody. That's the first element of your beat, the first thing that you need in your beat. Then I like to add a chord up, and I like to add some effects to it. You can check out my videos on, you know, how to turn 1 melody into 6 melodies and all that sort of stuff. If you want to check out what I do, the chord up, and how I use those, and check out my videos on how to make beats and all that sort of stuff, I'll get deeper into that. But basically with the chord up, I'll just copy over the same chords from the main melody and add this to an arpeggiator. Now what this does is it just creates a melody that moves more, and it just sounds a bit more interesting. So this would generally be some sort of counter melody. That's what you'd refer to it as. So we got the main melody, then we got the counter melody, then we got a track actually for counter melodies, which is generally if I'm going to like just create a melody from the ground up without just using the ARP. If I'm like going to actually place these in or paint these in or draw these in, then I'll use the counter melody. But it just depends on what sound I'm going for. Generally the ARP does its job and I don't really need to go for counter melodies. chorus chords or bells. What this does is it's generally a high frequency instrument that just hits those chords when the chorus comes in, so it makes the chords and the melodies hit a little bit harder. For example, let's say I've got a piano as my main melody, which I hardly ever do because I don't really use pianos like that, but let's say that's the case. I'm using a piano as my main melody. As my chorus chords, I might then use some bells, and I might use some bells that have some really high frequencies, or I might just go an octave higher. So in the chorus, when these bells hit, you can feel it. You can feel that we've now changed place in the song. We're no longer in the lower octaves. We've got some higher octaves coming in, and you can kind of tell, okay, this is the chorus. Then we've got a chorus top melody, which kind of is like the counter melody, but it's more only for the chorus. Like the counter melody will generally come in like the second half of a verse or around the verse. A chorus top melody, it will just come in the chorus. So here, what I do here is I'd usually use some sort of reverse up and send it to the chorus top melody here, and that will basically just add another high frequency moving instrument into the chorus, so that you know, wow, you're just getting more energy in the chorus. And I think that's very, very important to differentiate the chorus from the verses and make sure in the chorus there's more energy than the verses. Now, a vocal chop, very easy to understand. It's just a vocal chop. I generally use Arcade for these vocal chops, and I'll bring it in here, maybe do some halftime, maybe do a bunch of, you know, manipulating and whatnot. And yeah, this can come in either in the chorus or in the verse. Like, you can really mix and match with the vocal chops and that sort of stuff. And that's that. Then we've got the riser. A riser is a transition. So it transitions from one part of the song to another part of the song. For example, I generally have a riser from my pre-chorus to my chorus, but you could also use a riser or a down riser from the chorus to a verse, from the verse to the pre-chorus, from the intro to the verse or intro to the chorus, or from the verse to, I think it's a verse to pre-chorus already. So you basically use the riser when you have a transitional period. So this may be called a transition or an uplifter, depending on what genre you're working in. But I like to call it a riser because it rises up. I like to use some my riser, which is called the airy riser, and it basically just goes up, and I like to have it very subtle and in the background, and it just it lets you know, lets the listener know that, yeah, we're moving to a new section now, get ready. And it's just some air candy, especially if it's really subtle and you kind of don't even know that it's going on. It pushes your mind into the next section and lets you know that that's happening. So next we've got, by the way, the riser can be used in every track. Generally you want to use a riser in every track. I only don't use a riser if I'm being lazy. With this, you always want a main melody. You generally want some sort of counter melody, whether it's an up or a straight up counter melody, and then you want something in the chorus that accentuates the chorus and makes it stand out a little bit. So you will want some chorus chords or a chorus top melody there. And the vocal chop, you can basically leave it or take it or leave it. So next is the riser, then is the clap. You always want a clap. It doesn't have to actually be a clap. It can be a rim, it can be a snare, it can be a table hit, it doesn't matter. But what a clap does is it basically just keeps the rhythm of the beat. So you will need a clap in every beat. You can add hi-hats if you're making trap or any modern type of beat these days. You will have hi-hats. You'll probably have some hi-hat rolls as well. A snare, this snare is basically the accent snare. So basically, let me quickly get a channel rack up and going so you can kind of get what's going on. So let's say here's where the rim is. My headphones aren't even in. No, my bad. I didn't think I'd actually have to do anything with headphones and stuff. But basically, with this, I can add a snare there, or generally I'll probably put it there or something. And you can have like a little like a little swing to the next snare or the next clap. Now I don't know what this sounds like, so it probably doesn't sound great, but you kind of get what I'm doing with the snares. Like this just accents what's going on. It just adds a little bit more bounce, and the snare is basically using the same, it's basically filling the same role as the perk does, which basically just adds a little bit more bounce. The open hat, I'll generally have an open hat before a clap. So if the clap is here, I'll have the open hat over here, and it just adds a lot of movement to that clap as well. It really swings you into that clap. So an open hat is really good for setting that ambiance, and it's also good for adding to the beginning of your bar to basically signify that you've now hit a new section, and it gives it some oomph. So example, if you want to give your chorus a little bit more oomph, you might add an open hat to it, and then it just crashes in when the chorus comes, basically. So that's how that moves. And then, you know, I'll generally have 1 or 2 perks. It depends on how I'm feeling that day, whether I want to do a bunch of perks or not. Then we have the 808, which if you're not using the 808, you're going to be using a bass. It doesn't matter what genre you're in, you're either going to be using 808s or you're going to be using some sort of bass instrument. Now, generally in my beats, I'm either using an 808 or a synth bass. I might use both. I do like the sound of guitar basses and that sort of stuff, but I don't really implement those in my beats right about now at this point in time. So you want some sort of bass element. You need the bass. The bass is very important. You need to have some sort of element that's going to bring out the bass and just boom people in the head and make them know, you know, things are getting real. So 808, then we got the synth bass, which is still the bass. Then we got the kick, which basically, you know what a kick is, isn't it? You know what a kick is. A kick keeps the beat, but it also spices some things up and basically sets the groove of the beat and lets the artist know, you know, this is what's going on. The kick will let you know wagwan, basically. Then we've got the beat tag, which, you know what a beat tag is. You generally put it at the beginning of a beat, unless you're selling tag beats, and then it's throughout the whole of the beat. Then I have a clap reverb send, which is basically reverb that the clap is being sent to. So the clap is sent to the reverb, and then it has reverb on it, basically. And then this reverb signal is sent to the master, and then it just adds some more space around that clap and makes it sound more realistic and makes it sound less dead. And these are all the elements you need in your beat. This is everything you need in a beat, whether it's an R&B trap beat or a trap beat or a melodic trap beat or a pop beat or a rock beat. These are the elements you need: clap, snares, hi-hats, open hats, perks, bass, either 808 or synth bass or whatever type of bass you're using, a kick, and then main melody, counter melody, chords, or some sort of accentuating melody in order to let people know this is the chorus. You might want to use some synth or a pad. I like to use a pad these days with the chorus chords, which you have to have it as a high octave to really make it bring in that feeling, so that you know you're in a higher place in the song and it's got more energy. But that's how that works, and I believe I've gone through pretty much everything. My question of the day to you is, which of these have you been missing from your beats, or have you been including everything? Let me know in the comment section down below. I think that'll be very, very interesting. And I've just recapped over everything that you need in the beat. But remember that you can get this template by clicking on the link in the description or going to jcartere.com/R&B Trap FL. It will save you a lot of time when it comes to mixing. Basically makes everything half mixed when you start your project. So all you really need to do is set levels, and then once you've done that, your song is mixed. You only need to add effects or whatnot and twiddle a few knobs if that's what you really want to do. But it's going to save you a whole load of time, and your workflow is going to be way quicker when you use this template. Link is in the description down below again. And if you got any questions or any other tutorials you want me to make, please leave those in the comment section down below. And in the next video, you'll learn more about music, online business, and online marketing. I'll see you there. Peace out.